Hello everyone, welcome to mentorbuddy.com. This is your mentor Gurvansh, and today we are going to first learn about the mathematical and statistical functions in Python programming language. So guys, whenever we have to use certain mathematical or statistical functions in Python, we will have to first import the same libraries which will help us with the inbuilt functions. So to use any of these functions, first of all we have the math library, so we write import math, and we have the statistical library, so we write import statistics. So now guys, when we import these keywords, math or statistics keywords, the thing over here is that whenever you use a function related to these libraries, you have to write the whole name again and again. So for math it is easy, just 4 characters, but for statistics, since the name is very big, sometimes there might be some problems when you are rewriting the name again and again. So in order to reduce a big name, Python has provided us with a very good solution where you can use as keyword to rename your library. So we are going to write import math as MA, and we are going to write import statistics as SA. So now you can simply write MA and use the functions related to the same library. Now once these libraries are imported, you can use any function. Now guys, keep this in mind, since I am showing both of the topics together, I am importing both of the libraries together. There is no such rule that you have to import both of the libraries together itself. It depends on the usage. If you do not have the use of statistics library, you do not need to import it. If you have no need for the mathematics library, no need to import it too. Okay, so for the maths library, let's take first of all let's take some examples. So first of all, for the numeric, we have ceil function, floor function, we have factorial function, we have f absolute, we have GCD function. So let me show you some of these functions. So we can write like this. So let's say you have to take first, let's say you have a variable. Okay, you have a variable a, let's say the value for a is 64. Let's say you have b, the value for b, let's say, is 25. Okay, now let's take a negative for it, b is 25. Okay, or okay, no problem. So and let's take few numbers. Okay, so let me take c is equal to a float value for 45.6 to show you different functions. Now the first function I'm going to show is the ceil function. So ma.seil ceil function, and you can write c. Now what is the purpose of this ceil function? The purpose of this ceil function is to round off the value. So I'm going to print now print ceil, and again we have one more function, floor function. So the purpose of both of these functions is to round off the float value, but there will be a difference in the output. Okay, so let me show you the difference and then I will discuss. So for the ceil function will give you an integer round off of the float value, and floor will also give you the integer round off of the floor value. The difference over here is that the ceil function will give you next integer value, and the floor function will give you the previous integer value. So for 45.6, next integer value is 46 and previous integer value is 45. So this is the purpose of ceil and floor, to give you the next positive integer and previous integer as the output respectively. Okay, let's talk about the square root. So let's say you have to find the square root of a value. So you can write ma.sqrt square root of a. When you will run it, you will have to first print it, or you can save this particular answer in any variable you want. So when you run it now, you will get 8.0. Square root answer is always a float type. Doesn't matter what type of input you give, the output is always the float. Okay, now let's try to find the factorial of a number. Okay, so I will write ma print ma dot factorial of, let's say, 5. So you will get 120. Now let me show you with the saving part. So we can write v is equal to ma dot factorial of 6, and then we are going to print v. So here the output is 720. Now this is how you get the output by saving in a variable and then printing that particular variable itself. So here we have seen ceiling function, floor function, square root function, factorial function. Let me show you the GCD function, and first of all let me show you the f absolute. So what is the purpose of f absolute? The purpose of f absolute is to give the absolute value of the input number. So we can write ma.f absolute, and here we can pass any variable you have. So let's say I am passing b as the input, right? So b is having a negative value. So as I was saying, b is having a negative value. Let's print it and you will get a positive answer of it. Still it is giving you the float absolute value, f absolute. Okay, now let's take a look at the GCD. So I'm again taking a variable q is equal to ma dot GCD. Now this GCD is for two numbers, greatest common divisor. Okay, so let's say I am taking the value as 27 comma 81. So then I will print my q, print q. So answer is 27. So 27 is the greatest common divisor of the 27 and 81. Now these are certain functions. Okay, after this, let's say you want to find some trigonometric functions, right? Let's say you want to learn about some trigonometric function. Okay, so before I show you the trigonometric function, let me tell you about the LCM function also. So the Python also give you with the LCM function, least common multiples, right? Okay, so we have the ma.llcm, this LCM. So I'm going to just print it. Okay, print LCM of least common multiple of, let's do it for 27 and 81 itself, 27 comma 81, and let me close this bracket and run. So the answer is math has no attribute LCM. Okay, LCM should be there. Okay, let me check, no problem. Yeah, LCM is there. Okay, LCM is there, but why is it not coming? Okay, let me try again. So we will write w is equal to ma dot LCM, ma dot LCM. Okay, so I think my function library, mathematics library is not updated itself, so I'll have to update the library. Because of this it is not showing the LCM function. Okay, no problem, we can leave that. Okay, let's move on to our trigonometric functions in mathematics. So for the math lab in Python provides you with some trigonometric functions also. What are these trigonometric functions? So you can get a cos, a sine, a tan, cos, sine, tan. So let me okay, now first of all keep this in mind guys, you have to give the radian as the input. So whenever you try to give any trigonometric function, so first of all you need to get the radian of a angle and then you give that radian as the answer. So I'm going to write r is equal to ma dot radians of, let's say, 30. Okay, so you give degree in radians and you will get the output. So let me first print r, you will get 0.523. Now you can get the sine or cos of it. So you can write ma dot sine of r, and let's print the output. print ma dot sine of r. When you run it, you will get 0.499994. Okay, so this is the output for sine. Now you can do the same thing. Now let's say you have some radians and you have to convert it back to degree. So what you are going to write, you are going to write ma dot degree, and then you can put let's say I am putting the same value 0.5235. let's print it. print ma dot degrees, close it. You will get 29.99. Since we are not giving a whole complete value, we are not getting the complete value, which is 30 degrees. So this might be a problem for rounding off. Okay, now you can apply all of these. Almost every trigonometric function can be applied over here. Let's talk about the logarithmic functions. Okay, so when we talk about the logarithmic function, math provides us with variety of logarithmic functions. So first of all, there is the most basic math.log, right? Other than that, we have log 10 also. So the most basic formulation is ma dot log. So if you see over here, we have log 10, log 1p, log 2. So all of them are see multiple choices for log is present over here. So for log, when you just simply write log, you have to give two things, right? What are you finding the logarithmic for, and then what is the base you are choosing. So you can give two inputs over here. Okay, so for ma.log, you can select first, you can give the value. Let's say I am putting 1000, comma, you can put the base, which is 10. So if I print ma.log of 1000 for base 10, I will get the answer 2.99996. So if you round off this particular value, you will get 3 as the output. For the same thing, you can go like this: print ma.log 10 of 1000. If you run it, you will get 3 this time. So this is a bit interchange with the programming itself. Internal programming, there are some changes in finding the same answer. So you can go choose log 10, log 2, log p, whatever type of log you want, depending upon the problem statement you have while solving a problem. Okay, now let's talk about some statistical functions in Python and how do we apply those statistical functions. So to do that, first of all, let me create a list, because most of the time the statistical functions are applied on a list. So here I'm going to create lst is equal to 12 comma 14 comma 16 comma 18 comma 12 comma 14 15 19 12. I'm just multiplying some values, giving some multiple values, so that I can show you different methods over here. Okay, so once my lst is created, I can write print essay dot mean of lst. So if I run it now, I will get mean of lst is 14.2, right? So with the same thing, you can write print essay dot median of lst. So it will find the middle value of lst. So when you run it, it will say that 14 is the middle value we are getting over here. Then we can write print essay dot mode of lst. So mode of lst will be 12, because 12 has the maximum frequency in this list. Other than this, these are the most basic functions: mean, median, mod. We can even find the standard deviation, variance. So for the standard deviation, you have to write print assay dot standard deviation stdev of my LST, and then you can write over here print assay dot variance of LST. So if you run now, it says that the standard deviation is 2.8596 and the variance of our LST is 8.1777. so these are most basic or most used functions of math and statistical libraries in Python programming language. Now guys, let's talk about how do we create a user defined function in Python. So till now we have seen how do we take input from the user, how do we print the user. We have seen the data structures like list, tuple and string. We have learned how to take input in the list. We have seen how to import the libraries in the Python. We have seen how to use the functions of those libraries in Python programming language. We have seen conditional control statements in Python, loops in Python, and for the basic Python, one topic is remaining, and that topic is user defined function in Python. So whenever we create a user defined function in Python, user defined functions. So whenever we create a user defined function in Python, we first start by writing the keyword define. So def is the keyword which helps us to define a user defined function in Python. Then we write the name of the function. We write let's say name itself, and then we put the brackets. Now these parentheses define that we are creating a function. So define and the parentheses are needed over here. Then we obviously put the colon sign to represent the starting point of a function. We will hit enter and the indentation will come on its own. Then we will write print. Let me write my name. So I am just writing my name over here. After all of this is done, we can simply write the name of the function to call that particular function in Python. Okay, so we can write the name of the function, and if we have a parameter if we have the parameter for which we have to pass the values, we will write the values over here. Otherwise we just write the name of the function and the function will be called automatically. So let's run it. When I run it, I will simply get my the name Gurvansh Singh. Now let's take a example in which I am taking a input. We are passing a input to a function. Okay, so let's write define area. Here I am taking a input in a variable. Let me put side for square. Then I'm going to write, okay, see, if you do not put the colon sign, you will never get a indentation. So you have to put the colon sign to show. So then I'm going to write print area of the square is comma s into s, right? Then you can simply come out of the function. You can write area, then pass the value 4. When you will run it, you will get the area of the square is 16. Now let's say you have to take multiple inputs, right? So how you can do that? Okay, so I'll write define, let's say rectangle, then we have L comma B, right? We'll write print area of the rectangle is comma length cross B. Then here we can simply write rectangle (4, 5). When you will run it, you will get the area of the rectangle is 20. Now guys, if you look over here, when we are passing the value to a function, we are keeping some variables to catch those values, right? So if you see, I am passing the value 4 and 5 in L and B. right? When I'm passing it, the values 4 and 5 are stored in LNB, and then we are using the same variable. Now there is a term which is known as return statement. So what happens, the same way we pass the values to a function, in the same way we can get the output value from the function back. So whenever you pass a value, there is a possibility that you need the output from the function to do some other job. In that case, we can return the output value, and when we return the output value, we again need a variable to catch that value. In the same way, when we need the variables when we pass the values in a function. So let me show you an example for the return statement itself. Okay, so let's take the example of triangle. So I'm going to try define triangle. We need height and base h comma b. Then we are going to write area is equal to 0.5 into height of the triangle into base of the triangle. Then here I'm going to write return area. So area value will be returned right now. So here, after this is done, after the return statement, the function obviously automatically ends. So then we are going to write a is equal to triangle, height value let's say is 6 comma base value is let's say 7. Then here we'll write print area of the triangle is comma a. Now when you run, you will get the answer 21.0. Why we are getting 21.0? Because we have used 0.5 for the height, half. Okay, now guys, let's say you have to give the take the input from the user, the same thing. So here we can do like this. Let's do some changes. So I'm going to copy this, go down, paste it. Okay, let's take the input from the user and then pass the values. Okay, so now I'm going to write let's say x is equal to int input, enter the height of the triangle, enter the height of the triangle. So we will write, okay, then copy y is equal to paste, okay, my bad, enter the base of the triangle, then we are going to do it like this. Now this time, instead of passing 6 and 7, we are going to pass x and y. Let's run. So it will say enter the height of the triangle. Let's give the triangle height 34. Enter the base of the triangle. Let's give the base to be 66. Let's hit enter and you will get the area of the triangle 1122. So this is how you create your user defined functions in Python and work with them using no parameter, one parameter, two parameters with return type, or multiple parameters with return type. It doesn't matter. I'm just repeating the examples which I have used, and then taking input from the user and using the return statement in the code. So this was all for today's session. We took a look at the mathematical functions in Python, statistical function in Python, and user defined function in Python. So guys, thank you for joining us on mentorbuddy.com. Bye bye, take care.